In this session, we're going to talk about a new feature being offered in PBS Manufacturing version 1203. This is a feature that will be available to users of inventory management, shop floor control. It's an enhancement to the shop orders programs. You'll find a new menu selection labeled Shop Order Traveler. The Shop Order Traveler is an enhanced version of the traditional shop order pick list. Traditionally, your shop order pick list will provide you with, and here, let's take a look at my desktop. It provides us with basic information about the shop order, what the order number is, the item that we're producing, or release number, if appropriate. It gives us a start and a due date, and it provides us with an order quantity. In addition, down the bottom, it's going to give us a list of the various components that we need to produce this, and the total quantity of components that we need to do so. Now, keep track. We're going to use this same shop order number as we look at the various examples. Now, I'm showing you essentially scans because this is a document that's intended to be printed. It's not intended to be viewed on the display. Typically, this is the piece of paper that is going out to production with the shop order, so production knows what to produce, when to produce it, and in what quantity. So let's look at this a little bit further. So traditionally, we have the opportunity to print our pick list from our shop orders menu, be it from inventory management or shop floor control. With the new program, Shop Order Travelers, we're going to build on that. So let's look at what we can do within a pick list first. So when we look at this display, we can choose our shop order, our release and our item, what warehouse we're producing it in. We can also use our lookup. Select the item that we're producing under that shop order number. And once we've pulled up this information, we're given three basic options. We're asked if we would like to sequence our components by stock location. We're asked if we would like to list any on-hand detail for on-hand detail items, lot items, serial items. It will give us our first in, first out data if we choose to check this box. And then finally, we're asked if we would like to include shop order comments. Now keep this in mind as we move forward, because when we look at our shop order traveler, you'll note that we have a lot of the same options at the top, but we've expanded dramatically what we can do down the bottom, and we'll cover each of these as we look through the product. We still have our same top three choices. But in addition, we've now included some new things. We've asked if you would like to include our item comments or specifications. We've asked if you would like to include your sales order instructions. And then finally, we've asked if you'd like to print barcodes on certain key fields. Now, what is all of this going to do for us? Well, let's take a look. First, let's take a look at that document if we were to run it without our barcodes. Now, let's take a peek at the scan that we've created. And you'll see that the format has now changed. We've changed our format up top a little bit. Arguably, it's a little cleaner to look at now. Here's our shop order. There's our release, and here's the item that we're producing, the description of that item, who we're producing it for, if and only if we've decided to tie an order to an actual sales order. If so, it begins to expand our capabilities. Now, this is very frequently done in a make-to-order environment. So as we take a look at this, we can also now see a drawing number, our revision, the revisions coming from the item master, and we can see our start date and our finish date, as well as the quantity that we should be producing. Now below is where it really starts to separate itself from that pick list. The very top section in this report is our item master specs, or our item master specifications. These are the notes or comments that we've put into the item master file. Remember, we can have up to 99 lines of comments for each individual item in our database. So we can put some very detailed specifications that relate specifically to that item master, and we can opt to include those on this traveler document going to production. In addition, if we're working in a make-to-order situation here, and we have tied the shop order to a sales order, we can also choose to include our sales order instructions. Now, what's that do for us? That takes the comments from the sales order line that associates with this item that we're producing here. If this item doesn't exist on that sales order, there's no specific sales order instructions to be included, and this section will not be included at all. But if they are, and we check the box on that other screen, let's go take a look again. So here's our item comments and specs. Here's our sales order instructions. So if we opted to include those sales order instructions, they will appear. What are they? They are anything that you had defined uniquely to that sales order line for this particular order. So it may be different each time we do something for a customer, or if you're using our capability that was released back in version 12.02 to actually tie a customer's part number to an item number within your own item database, you also have the ability to create unique comments under the EDI items in CO to allow you to create unique comments for that particular item, for that particular customer. So the capability really starts to become amazingly flexible. It allows us to provide production with unique notes for that particular item and that particular sales order. Finally, underneath there, we see what we're now labeling the section called Bill of Materials. And this provides us with our list. What items do we need? What quantities do we need? How many are we going to need them? Now down the very bottom, that question that was a standard question to start with, which was, do we want to print our shop order comments? We've checked that box. So we end up getting our shop order comments down the very bottom of this document. So that means we can have unique notes for the item, unique notes for the customer's order for this particular run, as well as unique notes specific to this particular shop order. And all of those can be provided on a single document, providing all the information you could possibly want to provide to production on this one form. So I think you'll agree the capability here is pretty amazing. But there's more. As we look at this further, we have that ability to print off barcoded fields. Now, there are some limitations to this. You're not going to generate a PDF using barcodes. You're not going to send this to just any old printer either. You can't use the Windows printer. It won't even appear on the menu as an option. Why? Because we need to communicate specifically with the printer. And it needs to be a PCL5 compliant laser printer. It can be a newer PCL6 and so forth. But it needs to be at least a PCL5 compliant laser printer. Why? Because again, we need to communicate specifically with the printer so that we can establish when to turn on and off a barcode, where to place it, and so on. So it really restricts which printers you can use, but assuming that we do have that in play, we have the ability to actually create a barcoded version of the same form we were just looking at. Again, it's a scan, so it's not a perfect image, if you will, but it gives you an idea. Now we have the ability to barcode shop order, release, and item number. What's the big deal about that? Well, if you have scanners in your production department or in your warehouse as you're performing transactions in your system, if you require any of that data, and almost any shop order receipt or issue is going to require that information, you can actually scan that data right off of that form.